Hey guys, it's Aaron. So we had actually a couple videos on taking a piece of furniture and prepping it for layout. So getting scenes set up so that it would be real easy once we got into layout to actually put it onto a page and print it out. You guys had questions about that and still wanted to see it come into layout and how that would work. So I figured we'd throw together a page inside a layout so you can see how to take those scenes and make the documents that we get print out. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. All right, so in layout, I'm just going to start with a standard portrait template. And once we get in here, I'm just going to go up to File and insert that SketchUp file that we created. And that's going to drop in on, I think, the last scene that I created. So that works, that's good. So we're going to create two pages. One is for the leg and one is for the front. So this first one pulled in, if I right click and go down to scenes, it's going to tell me it's showing me the view that I called leg left. So I'm going to switch to leg front real quick. All right, there we go. Right now, this is currently being showed at a scale of 1 to 6.05868. Not real easy to pull a dimension off of if there's something I'm missing. So I might come in here and come up with a better scale, like maybe a 1-to-1 scale. 1 inch equals a foot. No, it's a little too small. 3 inch equals a foot. Let's see how that works. All right, that's going to work. So this is my front view. So what I might do, and again, at this point, we're kind of crossing into that what you could do kind of category, if you know what I mean. So we're not actually doing stuff where I'd say you absolutely have to do things this way. We're kind of going in more of the realm of here's some thoughts of ways you could present this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, each of the four sides of my leg is different. So I'm going to set this up. I set it at my 3 inches equals a foot, 1 to 4 scale. And I'm going to take it now and I'm going to copy and paste. And paste, and paste. So now I have 4 total copies of that viewport, and they're all just sitting on top of each other right now. By grabbing them one at a time and sliding them directly to the left, one thing I assure is that all my lines line up, if that makes sense. All of my perpendicular, if I had to put a dimension here to here, it would be the same all the way across because they all line up. Now, I have this one right here, which is my front. I'm just going to come through here, right click, and go to my scenes one at a time. I'm going to go left side. I'm going to go to the back, and I'm going to show the right side. So there's each of the different sides. One of the things you probably noticed right now is that they actually stopped lining up. This is one of the things that happens if you're not super careful about how you create your scene. You can see these two were created from the exact same scenes. They actually lined up perfect. These ones didn't quite do that. These ones were a little bit off. That's because I moved the camera, which some would refer to as a cardinal sin. So what ended up happening was I created my first one. You can see my other sides. I actually moved the camera for it. These three all line up. This one's a little off now. So what do you do when this happens? Because this is reality. My solution is to just grab a line, put it in here, and then I can actually take this now and I can line it up with that line. Something you may have noticed right there is that my lines are not very pretty right now. One of the other things I will do at this point is take my drawings, my SketchUp models, and change them from raster to vector. It does remind me that could take a little bit longer to register, but that's okay. I want nice sharp lines for my drawings. At this point, the amount of information you want to include on here is up to you. So I might want to come in here and say something like, I want to label each of these maybe. So I'm going to come in here and say this is my front. And then I like to copy things as much as possible. One of the advantages, of course, to copying is I can keep stuff lined up very easily by just moving it along with the inference snaps. If I draw a new one each time, which is fine, but I'm going to have to go through a little more work to line it back up. So this one I can say is my left. This one I can say is the back. And then this one is the right. These terms as well, a little bit subjective because I'm the one that's determining what is the front, back, left, and right. At this point I might put a couple dimensions on here. Maybe put one like that. For this particular piece, it might be important to see where is the top of that and where is the top of that. Those two dimensions. Over here, maybe we go to the top of that, and then also the length of that cut. Since this one's the same, I don't have to actually dimension both, but I might come in here and put in the horizontal dimension of that opening. Same thing down here. We got another little opening right here. You see I'm just clicking point to point and then sliding, so you can go across like that. It doesn't matter because when you pull it out like that, and then maybe one more showing the dimension of that cut. And then of course location of these two peg holes might be good as well. And then maybe these are square, but maybe I'll just throw a single dimension on here that shows these are 3/8 of an inch by 3/8 of an inch. And finally, I may do one more viewport here. I may come in here because I'm going to copy and paste this one last time. And I'm going to move it right here. And I'm going to change my view, my scene, to the top. Because I do have, again, this is the exact same scale now. I have a top view, which is going to be important because there are some cuts on here. They're not perfect squares, they're actually notched on each corner. So I do want to add the information that I need for making those cuts. So because this ends up being kind of small, I may actually take this one and maybe go to a bigger view. I may actually go to full size on this and then put my dimensions in for these details right here. So at this point, you have to make the decision, how much information do I need on here? Am I just taking this out to the shop? If so, that might be enough information. If this is something that maybe I'm selling or redistributing, then I may have to come in with more information. One of the things I didn't touch on, of course, is the title block. We didn't put additional text information on here, page numbers, anything like that. But that's the level of detail that you want to decide on importing yourself. What I really wanted to point out here was how to use those scenes we created to set up this view of the leg so that I could actually take this and fabricate this if I needed to. So hopefully that helped. Hopefully that was something useful in what you wanted as far as what's that next step in the process. At this point, we start to talk about deliverables and it gets a little bit subjective. What do you actually want? What do you need? That sort of thing. What I wanted to do is not get bogged down on the exact every little piece of how you should dimension things and really show you kind of the general flow of what would that process look like creating those viewports and copying them. Hopefully that helps. If so, give us a like down below, subscribe, that way you'll be notified when other videos get created, and most importantly, leave us a comment. I made this video because you guys asked for it after the prepping woodwork for layout video, so hopefully this helps. I'll know if you guys leave me a comment that say it helps. If you say it was terrible and it set me back, then I'll know that too, I guess. Anyhow, we like making these videos, but we like making them a lot more when they're showing something you want to see. So, thank you.